In a world of frozen seas, brutal winds, and winters that swallowed daylight for months, Viking families survived not because they burned more fuel than we do today, but because their homes were designed to hold warmth, not constantly chase it. The Viking relationship with cold. Vikings didn't live in mild climates with occasional cold snaps. They lived in environments where winter wasn't an inconvenience, it was a constant threat. Temperatures dropped well below freezing, winds cut through open land, snow piled up for months at a time. And yet, people slept, ate, worked, raised children, and survived indoors without central heating, radiators, or modern insulation materials. That wasn't luck. It was understanding. Vikings didn't try to overpower the cold. They accepted it as a force that had to be managed, not defeated. And that mindset shaped how their homes were built from the ground up. Why Viking homes were built low and heavy. Viking houses weren't tall, they weren't wide, and they definitely weren't built to impress. They were built low to the ground, often partially sunken into the earth. Walls were thick, made from layers of timber, stone, sod, and packed earth. Roofs were heavy, covered with turf that acted like a natural blanket. This wasn't primitive construction, it was intentional thermal design. The earth itself became insulation. Cold air had fewer surfaces to attack. Wind passed over the structure instead of through it. Heat loss slowed down dramatically. Where modern homes try to fight cold with systems, Viking homes prevented cold from getting in at all. Heat was trapped, not generated. Viking homes didn't rely on producing large amounts of heat. They relied on keeping the heat they already had. Interior spaces were small, ceilings were low, rooms were compact and often shared. Heat from the hearth, from cooking, from breeze, and even from animals stayed concentrated. There were no open floor plans bleeding warmth upward, no high ceilings pulling heat away from where people actually lived, no massive windows leaking warmth into the night. Warmth stayed where it was needed, close to the ground, close to people. Airflow was controlled, not maximized. Modern homes are designed to breathe. Viking homes were designed to seal. Open drafts were dangerous in winter. So, openings were minimal, doors were small, windows were rare and often shuttered. Smoke escaped through controlled vents, not wide openings. Fresh air still entered, but slowly. That balance mattered. Too much airflow meant heat loss. Too little meant smoke buildup. Viking homes found the middle ground through design, not technology. Modern houses often do the opposite, maximizing airflow for comfort and aesthetics, then trying to replace the lost heat with energy. The first sign, something changed. Fast forward to today. Modern houses are larger, taller, and filled with glass. They're built to look open, bright, and spacious, even in cold climates. Heat rises, air moves freely, warmth escapes fast. So, we compensate. We turn up thermostats, we burn fuel, we generate heat constantly, because the structure itself doesn't protect it. Viking homes stayed warm because warmth was designed in, not added later. And once you understand how they did that, by working with the environment instead of against it, the weakness of modern homes starts to make sense. Because the problem isn't that winters got colder, it's that houses forgot how to hold heat. Modern homes are built to feel open, not warm. At some point, the goal of housing shifted. Homes stopped being shelters designed around survival and became spaces designed around comfort, light, and appearance. High ceilings became desirable, open floor plans became a sign of luxury. Large windows turned into a selling point, even in cold climates. But all of those choices came with a cost. Warm air rises. In tall rooms, heat collects near the ceiling, far from where people actually live. Open layouts allow warmth to drift and disperse instead of staying contained. Glass, no matter how advanced, loses heat faster than solid walls. Modern homes don't struggle to create heat. They struggle to keep it. Insulation replaced structure. Viking homes used mass to control temperature. Modern homes use materials. Instead of thick walls made from earth and timber, many modern houses rely on thin framing packed with insulation. The structure itself offers little resistance to temperature change. When heating systems shut off, warmth disappears quickly. Insulation helps, but it's passive only on paper. It works best when paired with design that slows airflow and reduces exposed surface area. Without that, insulation becomes a patch, not a solution. Viking homes didn't need constant correction. Their structure did the work. Heat is generated, then immediately lost. Modern heating systems are powerful. Furnaces, boilers, heat pumps, they can raise indoor temperature quickly, but they're fighting the building itself. Heat is pushed into rooms, rises, spreads, and escapes. Drafts pull warmth toward leaks. Doors and windows become exit points. The system runs harder to maintain balance. This is why homes feel cold the moment the heat turns off. Warmth was never stored. It was only supplied. Viking homes worked in reverse. They stored heat and released it slowly over time. Airflow became a feature. Modern architecture celebrates airflow, fresh air, ventilation, circulation. These are valuable, but unmanaged airflow is the enemy of warmth. Every draft carries heat away. Every open pathway invites cold in. Viking homes limited airflow on purpose. Ventilation existed, but it was controlled and minimal. Modern houses often rely on mechanical systems to fix airflow problems created by design. That's a fragile solution. When systems fail or energy costs rise, the weakness of the structure becomes obvious. Comfort became visual, not thermal. There's another subtle shift that changed everything. Comfort became something we see, not something we feel. Bright spaces, open views, glass walls, tall rooms that look impressive but feel cold. The house looks warm, but behaves poorly in winter. Viking homes weren't impressive to look at. They were impressive to survive in. They didn't aim to impress visitors. They aimed to protect inhabitants. That difference still matters. The cost of forgetting old rules.
Modern houses lose heat instantly, not because technology failed, but because design priorities changed.
We traded thermal efficiency for aesthetics. We replaced structure with systems. We trusted energy to solve problems design once prevented. Viking homes stayed warm because they followed simple rules. Trap heat, reduce exposure, control airflow, and work with the environment. Modern homes often break those rules, and then pay for it in fuel, fragility, and constant correction. Which leads to the final question. If Viking homes could stay warm through Arctic winters, and modern houses struggled despite advanced technology, what exactly did Viking design get right, and how much of it can still be used today? Thermal mass did the heavy lifting. Viking homes stayed warm because they were heavy, not in appearance, but in structure. Walls made from earth, turf, stone, and thick timber absorbed heat slowly and released it just as slowly. Once warmth entered the space, it didn't disappear the moment the fire dimmed. It stayed stored in the walls, the floor, and the roof. This is thermal mass, and it's something modern homes rarely use well. Lightweight materials heat up fast, but they cool down just as fast. Viking homes warmed gradually, but once they were warm, they resisted the cold for hours. The house itself became a battery. That single principle explains why a small hearth could heat an entire dwelling through brutal winters. Small spaces hold, heat longer.
Vikings didn't waste warmth on empty air.
Rooms were compact, ceilings were low, families shared space. Heat from bodies, cooking, and fire stayed close to the ground, where people actually lived. Even animals were sometimes housed nearby, adding warmth naturally.
Modern homes do the opposite. Large volumes of air need to be heated, even when only a small portion is occupied. Heat rises into unused space. Energy is spent warming ceilings instead of people.
Viking homes were sized for survival, not spectacle, and that made all the difference. Orientation and placement mattered. Viking homes weren't placed randomly. They were often oriented to reduce wind exposure, built into hillsides, or shielded by natural terrain. Entrances faced away from prevailing winds. The landscape itself was used as insulation. Modern homes are frequently placed for views, curb appeal, or convenience, sometimes ignoring wind patterns and sun exposure entirely. When design ignores environment, systems have to compensate. Viking design didn't need compensation. It worked with what was already there. Fire was supplemental, not central. This part surprises most people.
The hearth wasn't the main reason Viking homes stayed warm. It was the backup.
Fire added warmth, but the structure ensured that warmth stayed put. When fires burned low or went out overnight, interiors didn't freeze immediately. Modern homes rely entirely on active heating. When systems fail, temperature drops fast, pipes freeze, comfort disappears. Viking homes didn't collapse when the fire dimmed. They held on. What modern homes can recover. This isn't about returning to turf roofs or longhouses, but the principles still apply. Homes stay warmer when thermal mass is prioritized, spaces are sized for use, not display, airflow is controlled, not maximized, and the design responds to climate, not trends. Passive warmth lasts longer than active heat. When a building holds heat naturally, energy becomes support, not survival. Warmth was a system, not a utility. Viking homes didn't stay warm because people endured more discomfort. They stayed warm because warmth was built into the system. Structure mattered more than fuel. Design mattered more than power. Environment mattered more than aesthetics. Modern homes lose heat instantly because they expect technology to solve what design once prevented. The cold didn't change. The winters didn't get harsher. The buildings did. And when homes relearn how to trap heat instead of chasing it, warmth stops being something we constantly fight for and becomes something the house quietly holds, just like it did 1,000 years ago. What are your thoughts on this? Let us know in the comments below. If you like this video, don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel for the latest videos.